With regard to the question of maternal suicide, each case has to be treated on its own merits. When you're a doctor treating a patient, you can't treat that patient on the basis of what may happen in other cases. We've heard from evidence earlier in the week that maternal suicide is both rare and also an overall leading cause of maternal death. And with regard to the legislation in that case, crossing a line, as has been mentioned, if you're concerned about that line being crossed of legislation for suicide, it's already been crossed. The X case itself has crossed that line. Abortion is legal in Ireland for women who have a real and substantial threat to their life, including the threat of suicide.
Women have equal human rights. They have equal human rights with men. We have the equal right to life, we have the equal right to health, and we have the equal right to physical and psychological integrity. In some countries in the world, and Ireland is one of them, pregnant women don't have the equal right to health. They don't have the equal right to physical and psychological integrity, and we want to see that changed.
I'll answer the question that I was asked about whether I was being prescriptive. I'm not. I'm being the opposite of prescriptive. I'm saying that individual ethical decisions have to be taken by individuals, and that individual ethical decisions about pregnancy have to be taken by the pregnant woman in conjunction and in consultation with her medical team. You may be confused by the point that I was making, is that you as legislators are restrained by the 1983 amendment as interpreted by the Supreme Court in the X case. Now, I wish that wasn't the case. I think you shouldn't be restrained by that. I think you should be able to democratically pass laws based on the needs of Ireland today. But until such time as we get rid of the 1983 amendment, you cannot do that. Finally, with regard to the question of late abortions, if the fetus is viable, the fetus will be delivered as a baby. You know, that's what happens in hospitals. There are caesarean deliveries every day in our hospitals. I mean, let's not invent problems that don't exist.
Chair, we've heard over the last 2 days the consensus from independent legal and medical experts on the need for legislation for the X case. And I think Atheist Ireland are right to point out that 3 days of parliamentary hearings shouldn't be necessary to discuss how the law should allow a doctor to save the life of a dying pregnant woman. Just questions to the Catholic representatives in that context. To those who oppose legislation for the X case, isn't that opposition based on an underlying belief in the innate deceitfulness of women and a misogyny towards women? Secondly, where is your compassion? And I've heard you speak this morning about compassion. Where is your compassion for the teenage girls who are victims of rape or incest, who become pregnant as a result and are suicidal as a result of that, as we saw in the X case and as we've seen subsequently? And finally, can you say what business it is of a church whose members are entirely and exclusively male and celibate to pronounce in such absolutist terms on such critical issues about the reproductive rights and reproductive health of women and of girls?